you, Jeff. I never know what he's going to say. It's always so amazing. How is everybody? You know, our story started out like anybody else's story when they're trying to start a family. You know, first comes love, then comes marriage, and then came Zooey Deschanel. More specifically, an episode of New Girls about a year and a half ago, where Zooey's character was convinced into going to her gynecologist and getting a test done to get her eggs counted to see if she needed to start settling down and find a man so she could have a family. Now, Amy and I have been already talking about having a family for a while at this point, but there was something, knowing that Amy was 39 and watching this character on TV, that we're sitting there both cross-stitching, because that is a thing that I do. And I turned to her and I said, oh my God, we gotta go get your eggs counted. True story. I don't even know if that's a real test, and I'm not sure if that's what Amy actually asked for when she called the University of Minnesota Reproductive Clinic. But the next week, there we were, sitting in this office that was excessively crisp and flawlessly organized. You might even want to call it sterile. Which is probably not a word you want to associate with reproduction at any time. Now, this woman named Mary took us back to this labyrinth of exam rooms and began this general intake appointment with us. And the first thing she asked was, so, Amy, do you smoke? And Amy says, nope. She says, Allegra, do you smoke? I say, well, a little less than half a pack a day, which is a little less than true half the time. And Mary proceeds to give me this lecture about smoking, more stringent than my own doctor has ever given me this lecture. And it never at any point does she say, it's because this is better for your health. No, the words that she uses is, we want to make sure we have optimal womb conditions. And she turns to take our family medical histories. Amy's takes about 5 seconds. She is an ox, as is, true story, as is the rest of her family. And then she turns to me and I tell her about the Graves' disease and the heart murmur and the 2 scoliosis surgeries and the 55-degree curve I still have in my lower back. And I tell her about the meds that I take to keep the world real. And I tell her about my dad, the type 1 diabetic who now has Crohn's disease. And my mother who had a heart attack at age 45 from endocarditis, who has 2 mechanical heart valves. And I tell her about my sister who almost died as a baby when bands formed around her intestines and who had a lump, a benign lump, removed from her breast at age 23. She writes all this down and then asks, so Amy, why are you carrying the child? It was all I could do not to spit and disdain. Dude, I am never going to be the optimal womb.